And now, guys and gals, we've got the Nerd Culture Radio Show up next with host CJ. Enjoy.
Hey guys, I am CJ.
And I'm Chuck.
And of course, Chuck is here filling in for Cody right now because unfortunately Cody was stuck babysitting his younger brother, so he could not be here with us this evening. So how are you, sir?
Besides health, not too bad. I'm still trying to get these tonsils yanked out of my throat, as I've mentioned on TV Pop Culture. But now that we're on Nerd Culture Radio, it should be a little bit interesting because I don't have to worry about my hair being messed up or whatnot.
Yeah.
Just to mention, CJ's in his skiffies here.
I'm not.
And so
Are not.
let's leave it up to the
jeans.
Let's leave it up to the viewer's imagination.
Anyways, so I'm sure some of you are wondering as to what happened with the vote. So unfortunately, no one else sent in any emails for the vote on what they wanted to see us review, which meant that the end result was the Doctor Who Big Finish audios and the Doctor Who television series from 1963 up until present day were both ended at a tie. And of course, Star Trek got 2 votes.
Which were both me and CJ,
Yeah.
and we kind of feel a little ashamed that both the main hosts and partners for TV Pop Culture's votes were not viewed the same way as their actual audience.
Well, it also didn't help that Cody and Sam didn't go vote, so...
Lazy bums.
Yeah, which really kind of pissed me off, because Cody was on Facebook that day.
Oh, God.
And he got on like 2 hours after I posted that.
I'm not going to say a word, just... I know Sam's got work and he's got his girlfriend, which is a full-time job.
That's understandable.
And then Cody's got his family and everything. I mean, I've got my family and my illness right now, which has been kicking my butt. You've got your job, and you have a coughing, dude. What's going on with your throat?
I don't know. I'm thinking it's allergies right now, because they've been kind of smacking me around lately. But anyways, back to what matters for the show. So I of course use my executive powers. We will only be reviewing as a series the Paul McGann Big Finish audio adventures by the company Big Finish. You can order these off of the Big Finish website or from Planet of Sound, located on Henderson Highway, right next to Galaxy Comics and Collectibles. So I'm sorry for any of you who happen to dislike that. I know I've received an email from a couple of people asking if we could do the Tom Baker. Nice.
Well, that's my
way
fault.
to shut off your phone.
Oh, I forgot you had Wi-Fi. You usually don't have to worry about those things.
Anyways, so if your phone's gonna be quiet, I'll continue.
It's quiet. It's quiet.
Anywho, so I got a couple emails asking if we could review the Tom Baker Big Finish audios because he started doing those, and I can't see why not. I'll have to, of course, go put in an order for them, but those probably won't be until after we are finished with the Paul McGann series. I've currently got all except for the last 2 episodes for Season 1, which I'm currently waiting on. We will, of course, be taking any kind of requests for things you want us to review, whether they're DVDs, comic books, audio adventures, music, whatever. Pretty much if there is a strong amount of requests, or really if anyone requests it, we'll be more than happy to do it on the show.
Now, I myself have something I'd like to actually ask to review for the Nerd Show.
Okay.
Now, I'm starting a new, as soon as I get a splitter for my actual Mac and my 360, I'm going to start a gaming review show.
Right.
As well as live streaming on either Twitch or live stream, depending on what account I think would be better. But what I'd like to see for this show, it would be awesome, is to actually have an audio review of Young Justice for our podcast. The series itself has gone into its second season. And it's actually, I have to admit, it's a little bit more entertaining and not as stupid funny as Teen Titans, but it's more serious, I think, as just as much as the Justice League, but hitting on the younger aspect of the actual series and revamping a couple characters, and I think somewhat the proper ways, and actually having a bit of romantic feel to the actual some of the younger teens, I think actually just show a little bit more light in the evolution of the DC characters. I know a lot of people wouldn't say that, but no offense, I mean, you've got the young Red Hood in there, which would be...
Jason Todd.
Yeah. You've got... basically, Superboy, Supergirl.
I have to ask, sorry, I have to cut you off for a moment. How is it that it's so hard for you to remember Jason Todd? That name is so generic.
I'm just testing you, buddy. I'm just testing you.
Just I know there's keeping me on my feet?
Yeah, I know there's Dick Grayson as the original Robin. I know there's Jason Todd as a second. I know that there's, Damian Wayne.
Like Dick.
Well, yeah. And now, on certain parallels, there is Damian Wayne as Bruce Wayne's son, either through... Catwoman. That's supposed to be their son. And actually, he was actually, speaking of Damian Wayne, he was actually a DLC character for, Lego Batman 2, and there's a bunch of the DC characters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
As well as
I haven't
Shazam,
played that one yet.
And a bunch of other characters, too. And I got the DLC for the 360 because my buddy works at... Well, he still works at EB, who I used to work with, so...
Right.
He just hands me a pile of DLC, and I go home and put them on my 360, so yay.
Anywho, but yeah, so... getting back to what we will be reviewing today.
Yeah.
Of course, if you guys want us to review any Doctor Who episodes as kind of a standalone review, we'd be more than happy to. All you have to do is really submit. I know for next episode, I'm thinking that me and Cody may do Robot, which was Tom Baker's first episode, considering that we've been getting a really high demand for Tom Baker.
Right.
And that does not surprise me in the least, because Tom Baker is, he is one of the most popular doctors. And after you see his first story, you can understand why. Because from the moment he opens his eyes on screen, he is the Doctor.
You see, I was born in the Doctor series, like, I was introduced to the Doctor more 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctor.
Yeah,
or more modern day Doctor. Yeah. I mean, I've seen, because of you, I've seen the movie, and I've seen the older ones. And I've always been a Trekkie, more or less, than a Doctor Who fan.
We'll be talking about the movie on today's show as well.
Oh, come on, it wasn't that bad.
No, like, it is one of my favorite Doctor Who stories, but I cannot wholeheartedly, put my hand on my chest and say, this is one of the best stories ever. I can't do it.
Well, it was the only movie that was ever released. Are you really going to criticize it? I mean, no offense. That Doctor is also part of the story we're reviewing today. So.
Well, yeah, of course.
But all I'm saying is, for me, the current Doctor, the 11th Doctor, I know this is probably every person out there says this, but the 11th Doctor has got a quirky and charismatic aspect to him. I don't know whether he's got Asperger's or OCD, but he's got something about him that just probably relates with the craziness of today's modern culture.
I lent you some of the Pat Troughton stories, right?
I think maybe one or two I've gone through, and I'm still going over the one right now.
If you look at Pat Troughton and then at Matt Smith, like, first off, their wardrobe is very similar.
Oh.
And so is how they play the Doctor, because okay, yes, Matt Smith's version is much more cleaned up
and more modern.
Yeah. But, I mean, really, you look at their personalities as the Doctor, and they are very similar.
Now, I have to admit, some of the older Doctors really pull their character from older time periods as their main time of their character. A lot of the modern-day Doctors pull their characters from modern-day times, but I think Matt Smith really reflects as some of his influences as his character from some of the older Doctors in some of their time frames.
Well, like, he even said in a few interviews that he had... watched a lot of Patrick Troughton's existing stories. Unfortunately, half of his time as the Doctor is missing because the BBC was just like, well, we have backup copies, and then when time came to find the backup copies, like, yeah, remember those backup copies we have? Well, no one can find them, Bob. Wait, what do you mean no one can find them? Well... we may have sort of kind of threw them out in the 70s. Fuck.
Now, here's the thing. BBC has a large vault with all these things thrown in of the originals. Now, all I can say is you throw a couple freaking interns that are diehard Doctor Who fans that know what they're doing with these old films, and they basically can go through these in maybe a couple months. But here's the thing: BBC is very quiet. There's a lot of stuff in there that is very hush-hush. Some is very sensitive material, so they have to have people they employ sign certain contracts, and they have to pay them. And, you know, they try to find as much as they can as soon as they can, because they know they can sell the Doctor Who stuff on the BBC market for the actual DVDs and everything. But here's the thing: if you buy it import straight from the UK, now you've had problems with this where the Blu-rays, they wouldn't play on your machine because they're country appropriated encoded.
Well, first off,
it's an anti-copyright measure, basically.
Yeah, well, they will play on my parents' Blu-ray. The only reason they won't play on mine is because I don't have a Blu-ray player. I have a PS3.
But a PS3 itself is, what do you call it, country-based. So they won't play anything from other countries like they would, let's say, if you grab a PS3 version of a game
so
from
I
another
have
country.
to, like, wait until the 4-year-old at my parents' house is asleep, and then I can watch it on their Blu-ray player.
Well, here's the thing. The best way to do it, in my opinion, I know this sounds horrible, but if you have the Blu-ray version, just rip a copy off of it and put it in your computer. Rip the media version and then just play it.
I know this is not the place for this, but I feel like I need to talk about this.
Okay.
So, speaking of PS3, later on in the week, I had one of my friends over. Her name's Tesla, and she saw that I had Little Big Planet 2. And she asked if we could play it. So I was like, sure, whatever, you know, like, I have almost all the stuff in the game, why not? So, we put it in, and she signs in on the guest account, and it goes through the intro for the game. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's probably just doing this because she's on guest. So,
well, she probably signed in as the main account for guest.
Yeah, so we're running through the intro, and then all of a sudden, it drops me down in my pod, but my guy, it has, like, no clothes on. I look through the inventory, none of the stuff's there, so I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on? So I go back to the dashboard. I go into my save game data. Everything, I mean everything is gone. Not just Little Big Planet, but the first Little Big Planet, the Bleach game that I have, Gundam Crossfire.
Now you're sure you're
Disgaea
not.
4.
Now you're sure the main. Now whenever you have multiple people sign into a PS3, there also is the main server. So she might have signed in and overraid. Like, was it her desktop in the background?
We had her sign out, and it was still the same.
Did you sign back in and out and see if it still worked?
Yeah, and it was still gone.
PS3, you get hacked and the system goes down for a couple
I don't
months?
think it was hacked. I think it was an update, because everything was there, and then there was this update that came up when right before me and her played.
That's
so
not what
I
I'm saying.
Okay.
I was just commenting on how PS3 got hacked by Anonymous back in the day.
Yeah.
And everybody got down for a couple months.
I haven't contacted them about it yet, but I will be
well, we can look
sending
at it
an
tonight
email
and see if I can help
off
you out.
tonight.
But
just asking them what's going on.
Yes, this is not the place on the radio show to be talking about it, so I don't know what you're talking
about.
about.
I need to talk about this, and it kind of pisses me off, because okay, I've been with Sony since before PS2.
Right.
And yes, I have not informed them of this yet, but I'm really hoping they do something, and if they don't, you know what? I'm sorry, but I'm not buying their next system, because this is ridiculous. I have spent my hard-earned money to buy games, game items, DLC, stuff like this, on their store, so then that way I have it, so then I can play it. What's the point of me spending my money on this if they're going to go and erase it with an update, or they're going to let someone hack me? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, no offense, from what I can sound, I really don't think it was. I don't think it was an update. Did you have an update when you started up the game?
I had an update both when I started up my PlayStation and when I started up the game.
Now, I've heard of problems where people update their PlayStation and the save file or the save data itself can come, I don't know, not corrupt, but unreadable. And usually there's an update a couple days later.
it was gone. Like, it was just gone. There was nothing there.
But that's the thing. It could be unreadable, but still in the hard drive space. Depending on whether you still have the same amount of free memory or not, it's still there. I mean, you can't just delete it in an update. It depends if your console's modded, which I don't think yours is.
No,
So-
no, I don't do that.
Yeah, so basically, I don't think it's like that. I'm sure if there's not another update that comes up in a little while, or if you don't call them, they'll just go into your account and just re-download history stuff. But I'm pretty sure your save files are there, or it's just because she was saved
Well,
on there.
a lot of the stuff I gotten was because I had the Game of the Year edition.
Right.
So without that, like, there's
It was on
like,
this disc? Or
yeah,
was
it
it
was
on-
on this disc,
well, just
and I traded that in a while ago. So, I'm a little pissed right now.
yeah.
But
That's why I
anyways,
trade games. I
oh,
work at
there
GameStop.
was actually so at work on Friday. I just want to mention this because you guys may get a good laugh. So this car's about to head out of the shop because we finished working on it. We finished painting it. We finished washing it. So I'm testing to make sure everything works: the headlights, tail lights, turn signals. And so I get to the window washer fluid. I turn it on, and instead of hitting the windshield, it shoots the wrong way and hits the grill. I'm kind of like, okay. So I walk up to Adam, and I say to him, "Hey, Adam, can you just stand from the car for me? I want to make sure that I'm seeing this correctly." He's like, "Okay." So I press the button, and he's like, "Ah, what the hell?" So we both go and get Dave, because he's the one who put it in.
Yeah.
And I walk up to Dave, and I say to him, those of you who don't know, Dave is my boss. And I look at him, and I say to him, "You know, Dave, I just started working for you, and I may be crazy, but I think those are in backwards, so you should fix them maybe." And
Okay, no, wait. The way you just said that sounded like that song.
that's the point.
Oh God. Okay, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sick and tired of that song. With every version that's been put out there, with the
Oh, come on, there are some people
the
who are laughing at
over-attached
that right now.
girlfriend, so many different versions of that song remade, and even the swim team, the Olympic swim team did it, remade it. I'm just tired of hearing that song in general. I mean, it wasn't too good to begin with, and then everybody makes these remakes to just
come
make
on,
it
that
worse.
one. Mine was a little bit funny though. There are probably people laughing at that right now.
Yes, a play on words is funny, but when it's something so taboo and overused as that, I just gotta say boo.
Anyways, so we figured out that he put them in backwards. How he managed to do this, we don't know, because there's a locking mechanism on these ones that should not let you put them in that way.
So in other words, he Brited it, in a certain sense. If you're a Community fan, you'll know what I'm saying.
Kind of.
Yeah, alright, now, I gotta say something. I know this is a review show, and we've gone completely off topic, and I apologize, we're supposed to be going straight to review, but we've talked about a good, I'd say out of the 17 minutes we've already recorded, probably, I'd say, I don't know, 15 minutes on your life story currently?
No, actually, I've been keeping an eye on that. It's about 5.
Bull.
Anyways.
Alright,
so, without further ado...
I gotta say one thing. We were talking about Doctor Who, and you cut me off, and I haven't had a chance to say it. The current Doctor Who, Matt Smith...
Yeah.
I love his fascination with hats. I want to see him one of these days coming on the show with a beer hat. You know, the one with the 2 beers on the side, or a drink hat. It's like, greatest hat ever invented. Like, you know, fezzes are cool. Beer hats are cool. I'm sorry. I know it sounds American, but the fact is...
I can't see them calling it a beer hat.
Well, what is it
because
called?
It is a family
What is it
show.
called, that hat that has the 2 cans on the top?
It is called a beer hat. But I can't see them actually using that as the name. Like, they may just call it a drink hat because, you know, this is a family-friendly program. And it's the UK.
Well,
yeah,
I mean, well, no, they play it almost the exact same time on BBC Canada, the actual Doctor Who shows, too.
Well, yeah, but...
But that's just a different story.
You know, it's the Beeb.
It's BB.
Oh, actually, this may be a bad time to mention this to you. I'm sure I told you about this, and you said that there would be no way you could afford it.
Did you pee in my Cheerios again?
No.
Okay, what?
And I didn't do that. Anyways, so I was at Comics America.
Yeah.
And they may still have it, is the limited edition Doctor Who Matt Smith bust with blue bow tie.
Right now,
And
the
it
one
was
thing,
like $89.
the one thing I want to buy is the large police box of all, and you open it inside, and it's all 13 actual Doctors, which the current one you have.
Like that one.
Yeah, you can get them for about,
Okay.
I'd say cheap, $100, maybe $125 full price, or $130.
Actually, I got mine for cheaper. But he was trying to get rid of it, so
yeah. You see, I'd like to find one and get one cheap off the internet.
I can always call Pop and I and see if they have.
Hey, if you want to get me a Christmas present, that'd be awesome.
Uh,
Or birthday. Mine's birthday's in November, you know that, right?
Anywho, So I think it's time that we moved on to our reviews. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Now,
Okay.
the current review we're talking about today is Doctor Who and...
Blood of the Daleks,
and I was
part
about
1
to
and
say
2.
that. But, go on.
Okay, anyways, so...
By we mean part 1 and 2, they're on 2 different discs. So
Yes.
let's just call it, we're reviewing Blood of the Daleks in the Doctor Who
Daleks.
series. Daleks.
Close enough.
No,
Anyways,
no. How did you say Daleks?
Daleks.
It's called Daleks. Daleks? You just call them Daleks?
That's how the British pronounce them.
No, that's how the Daleks say it after they have the voice changer.
Anyways.
The Daleks.
Anyways,
Die
so...
Lieben Franz, die Daleks, even at Heuvens. It sounds German.
It's supposed to sound German.
Well, I know they're supremacist of the purity of the Dalek species, but the way you pronounce it just sounds fascist.
Like, the creator of Doctor Who actually went on BBC and said, yeah, I got the idea for the characters from the Nazis in World War II.
I gewollt.
So, anywho, these are the first 2 episodes, or, first
The
story.
only 2 episodes of
for
The Blood of
the Paul McGann Doctor Who Big Finish audio adventures.
Right.
I managed to get part 1 as a free download from Big Finish Audio. They were having this weekly download thing. I know I sent you an email about it.
Yeah, and I was going to actually listen to it,
Yeah.
but I thought if I don't have part 2 and I have to buy it later, I might as well just wait until either I get it eventually or you
Okay.
do. And you eventually did get it, so yay for planning.
Yeah, so these were... no, this was not the first one that he did.
Right.
He did another one, I think a few years before this, called Storm Warning.
Right.
This is, however, the first 2 in his series
Right.
that he did. He did his own little series. There's about 4 seasons for it, and there's going to be a 5th one coming out in November.
Yeah.
And this giant box set, which I have to say looks fantastic.
Now, there's one thing I got to say about this being the 8th Doctor. Now, this is voiced by the same actor from the movie,
Yes, Paul McGann.
Paul McGann. And what I'd like to see is, the fact is, they jumped to the 9th Doctor in the modern-day series. It was only 10 years after it, and with modern-day makeup, no offense, they could have definitely put him in as the 8th Doctor continuation into the actual television series.
Yeah, they could have. What happened, though, is that there was a lot of... we'll get into that after the reviews.
Well, I might as well get into it now, because we're going to have to talk
I
about
I want to explain the history of it after we've done this.
all the reviews.
No, not all the reviews, just the reviews of Blood of the Daleks. Anyways, how this starts is Lucy Miller, who's a girl in her early 20s, is dropped into the TARDIS by the Time Lords, and the Doctor sees her there, is like, what the hell are you doing there? And it starts up. The Doctor...
Now, I got to say something. This is not the first time a girl has basically magically appeared inside of the TARDIS. In the 10th Doctor...
Actually, this happened before this, because this was made in 2000 and...
I know, but I said that this is not the first time it's happened. I'm saying it's happened another time before that. Not before it, but after it. But I'm just saying the Doctor should get used to this. And in the eventual, by the 11th Doctor, it's happened twice already. And the second time was because the girl was basically filled with time vortex particles, or what was she filled, or she was injecting, or not injecting, she was consuming. I just remember from the television series.
Yeah, no, Donna Noble, she'd
Yeah.
been exposed to time particles.
Yeah, she basically was being, as a part of being fed to a giant queen spider, she was being fed that so she could actually get more power, the queen spider or something.
Yeah,
But
something like
all
that.
I'm going to say is, I don't know whether, now this was written after or before.
This is Doctor number 8, and
I know.
this was written several years before.
So, either the TV series is pulling off a couple little plot lines from the written series.
Well, I can't see why that would be such a bad idea, because, first off, it flows more in continuity with everything.
Yeah.
And fans really like that. Thirdly, is that I don't see anything wrong with it.
Right, and all I gotta say is another thing, he should be saying, no more men, when they see a woman magically appearing in front of him and she's cute and young, would be saying, oh God, thank you. But the Doctor's saying, what the hell? Like he doesn't want anything to do with it, either he's gay or bisexual, I don't know.
Okay, you have to remember, the Doctor is married. So...
Well, no offense, the Doctor was married and he had a grandchildren back in the day. Doesn't mean because she's passed away, he can't go looking for tail. I mean, he's the Doctor. I mean, he does get love interest. He does make out with the occasional, you know.
Well, you have to remember,
companion.
the Doctor is 900 years old and she's in her 20s.
More reason!
So...
More reason! I mean, it's not illegal, no matter what time frame.
I just want everyone to know that Nerd Culture Radio and TV Pop Culture does not follow the opinions of the individuals in these programs.
Well, all I'm saying is, you know, this man has been through heck and back, and there's only one thing that soothes a broken soul, and that is the love and comfort of an honest woman.
Anyways, so the Doctor tries to get Lucy back to her home in England, 2006. The TARDIS is then thrown off course by some kind of temporal shielding around the north of England in 2006, and instead lands on a Earth space colony called Red Rocket Rising.
Okay, I gotta stop you there. The name Red Rocket Rising, has anybody here, and I'm sure everybody at home has already watched an episode of South Park where Kyle basically has his dog and he goes, Red Rocket, Red Rocket, Red Rocket. And all I can think of Red Rocket Rising is either a play on
The two are
words.
not related.
I know,
can
but
assure you.
that's the first thing that popped in my mind. Wow, there's a planet named after a South Park little cliche. All I can think is just that funny little moment. And all I can think of, whenever I've heard Red Rocket, I don't think of a spaceship. I hear of a horrible little act done to a dog, and that's just horrid.
Anyways.
Remember, this is an episode not meant for kids. This is meant for adults to laugh your butt off if you think we're funny.
Anyways. So, this is some kind of like space colony in the future, and they meet Miss Eileen Clint. Come on, Eileen. No, don't know that song?
I get more of a joke out of Clint.
Yeah. And, anyway, she is the current acting president, along with, I guess, this person's supposed to be like her secretary or assistant. Her name's Ashta.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, the Daleks then send after shenanigans ensue with some crazy guy named, hang on, let me find his name here, Tom... Cardwell.
Well, the basic thing is they find basically they were trying to get to 2006 and they get sprung back by some sort of shielding. And the thing is, when you basically park your TARDIS in the middle of a road and a car crashes into it, you're going to have some problems with the local traffic, especially when people are trying to free themselves from an open mob.
Yeah, the Doctor like wrecks their car because they drive into
the TARDIS is built like I know that's not the actual shape of it, but the thing can take a sun imploding up to a certain point. I mean, the thing, I don't think even a Hummer could do a dent onto it.
So, anyways, the Daleks send a transmission to Red Rocket Rising, offer to, quote-unquote, help them. We find out Ashta is really Professor Montez, and he was this criminal who had been arrested because he was conducting inhuman experiments. And how this happened is that he transferred his brainwaves into her brain, and her brainwaves into his brain. So when everyone thought that he died, he was still alive. We also find out that Martez had made his own Daleks.
But here's the thing. I mean, he was going to court. They were basically gonna, he was basically gonna, you know, get prosecuted, and he wouldn't be able to finish his work. I mean, what did the guy have a choice to do? And he even said he had his poor simpleton actual assistant. And no offense, I mean, what do you do if you're a man all your life and you get transferred into a woman's body? You're going to go into the mirror and play with yourself a little bit. I'm a horrible person, I'm sorry.
You are a horrible person. Anyways.
But if you've watched every, I don't know, sci-fi, if you watch every comedy, whenever a man somehow either gets turned into a woman or basically gets switched body with a woman, he's going to want to check it out.
Just so that you guys know, he doesn't actually do this in the audio adventure.
No, he doesn't, but I'm just saying, whether a mad scientist or not, for science, I must feel myself up in this new female body.
Right. Moving on.
Yes, moving on. I'm the comedy relief, if you hadn't noticed.
And how he's able to make these Daleks is because he found this Dalek ship crash-landed on Red Rocket Rising. So in part 2, Martez's Daleks try to kill the Doctor and Lucy, and but the Doctor and Lucy are taken by the space Daleks. They put Or no, sorry, the Doctor escapes.
Well, there's the Daleks, and then there's the human Daleks.
Yeah. The Doctor escapes and is captured by Martez's Daleks. The Daleks from outer space put out this radio transmission and put Lucy on the radio. They also say that if the Doctor does not surrender before he leaves, they will exterminate Lucy Miller. And
you know, you really actually sound like a cold-blooded automaton there. Then again, you usually sound like a cold-blooded automaton.
Fuck you. So, anyways, the Space Daleks then find Martez's Daleks and try to destroy them. They also find the Doctor and Lucy again, because Lucy briefly is able to escape, and then bring them both back to their spaceship.
Can I say this one thing?
Hostage.
She was put in that detention cell 3 times, and all these times she is freed by the same crazy man who wears tinfoil on her head. And you think the Daleks, with all of their comprehension, would think, oh, she's escaping. We should probably put something better than a screwdriver that can undo the lock.
Yeah.
Not a sonic screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver you can pull out of your pocket from your everyday.
We find out that the reason why Red Rocket Rising is in such bad shape is because they were hit by a comet, which we later find out that the Daleks sent down. Everyone finds out that Ashta is Martez. The Daleks also, we find out that they blew up the escape pods that launched from the planet. This audio adventure also pays tribute to a Tom Baker story, which the name is escaping me. It's like that one Dalek story where Sarah Jane Smith was there.
So basically, you're forgetting the name of this storyline, just like you forget the name of the girl you sleep with on the weekend.
Just so that you guys know, he is joking.
Or am I? Dun dun dun.
Anyways, so the Doctor agrees to help the Daleks kill off the ones that Martez made. Tom Cronwell tries to blow himself up, but fails, and still kills the Daleks, but okay. Well, some of them anyways.
Well, he was using old fusion cells, and no, let's see. He didn't get killed by the extermination rays from the Daleks in the series, because basically the bodies fell on top of them. Now, if I remember correctly, the bodies don't burn. They get incinerated where the bones basically look in the air, and then they drop to ash. I don't know how you can survive that, because it does not correlate with the television shows at all.
Yeah, so Epic when?
Yeah, Epic win, or they thought he was just died from the background radiation and he fell on the ground.
Exactly. Anyways,
either this guy's got 9 lives, or I don't know, something's looking after him.
Anywho, so the people on Red Rocket Rising start fighting the Martez Daleks. The Daleks that Martez made kill Professor Martez, because after him and the Doctor have this long conversation, Martez decides that he's going to cut the power and, end the Daleks that he was creating.
Well, of course, because, no offense, he wanted to evolve the human race.
Yeah.
Not to basically turn them into what he realized what a Dalek truly is.
Yeah. Both sides of the Daleks wind up dying in the end. Or, well, at least the ones that came down to the planet. Red Rocket Rising is then abandoned by its people to go live on Earth's sister planet, which is mentioned in the William Hartnell story, The 10th Planet. And basically what's going to happen is they're going to become Cybermen later on in the future.
Wow, you just bring out all the spoilers in this review. You tell the entire storyline from the beginning instead of just you giving
it's kind of nice because it does tie in with one of the first stories.
True.
In the Doctor Who TV franchise.
Well, how do I put this? The Doctor said it best. Time is wonky. How did he put it?
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Did he actually say that?
The 10th Doctor did.
Wibbly wobbly. Well, I know because time is a tricky, sticky wicket or something. Or I know he said something like that. Because no offense, you see connections from future episodes to past episodes, and past episodes to future episodes. And it's not like they plan it. They have to plan the future episodes to coincide with the old ones, or if they within the current modern time period and they have the same writer. Sometimes they throw in something to add in for later. But, you know, the actual writers of the new series, like Moppet and a couple of the other ones, do a very good series. I mean, you're always on the edge of your seat. Unless you're some of those diehard fans that looks at every trailer or looks at where it's shot and everything, you're going to kind of ruin the storyline, but they always leave a cliffhanger that the fans don't get. And
Yeah.
I have to admit, out of the current series, it's well written, it's well graphically done, and it's just something that you can watch with the entire family, or just watch yourself as a fanboy or a sci-fi geek.
Yeah. We also learn of this woman called the Headhunter, who has been hired to go after Lucy Miller, and then the Doctor and Lucy whoop away to another adventure, which we will be, of course, reviewing on the next episode, called Horror of Glam Rock.
Now, I gotta say something about a woman with a job called a headhunter usually means a completely different thing when it's a woman going for calling a headhunter. Now, I'm not gonna get into details what that usually means, but if you search on the internet and look up women that are headhunters, and that usually means something very dirty and profound. But I've already said enough foul things today.
Anyways, so this is how our rating system is gonna work. There's going to be buy it or download now, Netflix, or burn it and piss on the ashes. So,
Wait a minute. Say that one more time, just so I can get that.
So our rating system is buy/download now.
So that's basically a 10.
Yeah. Netflix it.
So that's basically a 5.
Yeah. And burn it and piss on the ashes.
And that's basically a 1.
1 or lower, yeah.
Okay. Now, Netflix, you still have to pay a monthly fee. If you want to go below Netflix, I'd say torrent it. So that would probably be a 3.
I think those 3 are fine.
Yeah, but
anyways, so now I have listened to a lot of the other Big Finish audio adventures. After listening to this one again, this is really, really good. It is, for anyone who has seen the movie, it is 1,000 times better than the movie. Don't get me wrong, the movie happens to be one of my favorite TV adventures, but I cannot, wholeheartedly put my hand on my chest and say, this is one of the best Doctor Who adventures ever, because it really isn't. In the movie, they did screw up a lot of stuff.
Now let's just get a couple facts straight.
Now, I want to give this a rating first.
Before you do that, you just talked about the movie. Now, the movie was outsourced to Vancouver for one. It was a long shot they wanted to try to appeal to the U.S. audiences.
They also made this mistake of letting Fox do it.
Fox has done a lot of things bad, but it's like the PJs, that series from that animated series. Or
I'm trying to remember which one that is.
See, that's why it was a bad series, because you don't remember it. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of things.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I think that was that claymation black couple or black family in like New York's or New Jersey suburbs or something. I'm just trying to remember. I remember PJ's got laughed at as one of the bigger Fox failures.
Anyways,
but all I'm saying is the movie itself, for the first movie ever, which you cannot actually have anything to compare it to. I mean, you're always going to put Doctor Who on a top pedestal. As being in the film industry, I'd say it's got some decent plot line. Doesn't exactly have the best writing, but I'll give it this. If they ever make a Doctor Who movie currently, I'm damn well sure they're going to do it right.
We'll get into that in a couple seconds. But Blood of the Daleks, Part 1 and 2, I'm going to give a Netflix.
I'm going to give it a torrent, because no way I'd pay even $7 a month for that. As well as I love the Doctor Who series, it's long. The plot line is pretty evidently, you can tell what's going to happen soon, right? As soon as you hear that word Dalek, you know what the heck happened and how.
Yeah.
The only twist I thought was a good one is they find out that the assistant's mind was switched. That was the only good twist that I thought. Everything else was predictable up to the yin-yang.
You also have to remember that these two stories were designed for people who had heard of the Paul McGann movie, but who hadn't actually seen it. So it was kind of supposed to... Like, this is something that you could use to introduce someone to Doctor Who.
And this was also designed for a radio show, nonetheless,
yes,
too, as BBC 7. So, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I'd probably listen to it again eventually if I was going through the entire series. But you're going to be sitting on your butt for a good hour, hour 50 minutes listening to this?
Hour.
So my advice is get your iPod out, download it onto your thing, and just lay in your bed and listen to it, and try not to fall asleep, because you're not going to fall asleep, more or less, but you're going to actually, want to listen to it.
Unfortunately, these two are not available on iTunes.
Yeah.
Which means that the only place you guys can get them is off of the Big Finish studio website, or I know I have seen them on eBay before.
And there's a third one called BitTorrenting, which I do continuously. But if you want to support, which I do suggest, because Doctor Who is a very good series.
We are not encouraging that you go and download it for free.
No, but we are supporting you actually paying for it, because no offense. It's a good series, and if you've ever enjoyed Doctor Who or love this TV series, you're going to want to at least contribute a little bit.
Yeah. So, now you wanted to talk about the movie, right?
The movie, I think I've said all I can say.
Yeah.
I mean, people didn't like the way it came out. I mean, it's not as bad as the new Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
I just hit a very big cue for this guy here.
Anyways,
I'll just say it was good. I like introducing the way he became the 8th Doctor and arose in the actual, freezer. I thought it was pretty nice, because no offense, that night guard was freaked out. And if you actually looked at night guard for the Mortician night guard,
yeah,
he's actually a pretty famous actual actor these days.
Yeah, he was. I guess we might as well get into a little mini review of the movie then. So basically, what happened with the Paul McGann movie was, this movie was rushed in every single way possible. They had been working on the script for about a year. They got the okay in January, and they said, "Okay, so you guys can start filming. Oh, we need this for May." And at that point, I could just picture everyone simultaneously shitting themselves all at once.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you go for Vancouver for a shooting spot, well, it is a great location. Canada months, or how do I put this, ficky at best. You really don't get really good summer months, or an actual summer weeks, I should say. Summer doesn't last for only 2 weeks until the end of June, and that's basically our summer, is when it's hot 30. And I mean, you can always complain about the winter, but you have no right in Canada to complain about the summer.
I personally like the winter, but...
Yeah, I don't mind the winter, because no offense, I got allergies, and it's basically a reactive-free season. But...
Not for me.
I gotta walk dogs, so I like the summer just because it's a little bit nicer to walk around, and there's a lot of cute girls in bikinis, so... I have a libido, okay? Unlike you who never comment on the girls.
I just know when it's appropriate and when it's not. And
it's a radio show. The more discriminant and disruptive you are, the more ratings you're going to get. And you'll thank me for this later. I'm not usually an ass in person, but this is just how Chuck is.
Right. So, like, the entire prologue for the Doctor Who Paul McGann movie, they take, years, decades worth of information, just cram it down your throat in the first 15 minutes, because this is, and I quote,
and they don't explain it. Like, if you basically never watched the original series and just
you're sitting there like, what the fuck?
What you're trying to piece together, what's going on here? Because if you never watched the original series from the BBC, you're wondering what the heck's going on. I'll be honest, when I saw the movie, I had only seen the modern stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, what is coming from there? The only thing that I knew from the modern series that rang through was the name Master.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Besides that, the Doctor, who looked like an old man about to heave over at the time, before his regeneration, there was a lot to look at, and even the TARDIS, you think, wow, there was a lot more living space in the older movies, or the older decades.
Yeah. Well, with the movie, when it first came out, now, I saw the trailer for this about, I'd say, a week before either my 5th or 6th birthday. And I was really excited because my papa, my mother's father, had a bunch of VHS tapes that me and him used to watch, and, occasionally it'd be shown on TV with reruns. So I was like, oh my god, yes, Doctor Who's coming back on TV. And, this is like a little kid a week before his birthday, already excited because it's a week before his birthday, and then finds out that, one of his all-time favorite heroes is coming back to television.
I gotta say something. When I think of Doctor Who and TV marathons, I think of that Simpsons episode where basically Bart Simpson gets $100, and you see the comic book guy buying 100 burritos for $100, and he says, "This should be satisfied enough to actually last me the Doctor Who marathon for the weekend," and he's waddling away with a barrel full of actual burritos to actually watch Doctor Who, and all I know is there's going to be a big bang of the time-space continuum coming someplace in that household.
The entire entry log is not needed because he says, "As I was approaching the end of my 7th life, the Daleks had put my mortal enemy, the Master, on trial." Okay, first off, the Daleks have a legal system? What?
And they don't just go exterminate?
Exactly.
Like, are they sending him to be exterminator, or what's going on here?
Yeah, so there's that. There's... Also, we did not need to know that he was approaching the end of his 7th life. We did not need to know that he was starting his 8th life. We did not need to know who the Master was, who the Daleks were. We didn't need to know any of that.
No, here's another thing. He was saying, I was approaching the end of my 7th life. Now, is he psychic about knowing he's going to die soon, or should it have been the 8th Doctor's voice explaining what's going on?
It was the 8th Doctor's voice explaining what was going on.
Now, here's the thing. He's probably retelling the story to somebody. He's either telling it to somebody he knows, but who's he telling it to? Us? Does he know us?
We're supposed to believe that he's, like, telling it to one of his future companions.
Right. Another thing I gotta say, after he lands in the whole thing, he's got a freaking key that anybody can grab on the TARDIS, supposedly the most secure box in all the universe. I mean, that gets that secret gets out. Every Cyberman that comes knocking on the door is gonna say, "Check above the P. There's a key."
Yeah.
Grabs there, goes inside, and the key looks like a flat little disc that you just put in.
It really was just an ordinary house key.
It didn't look like...
No, sorry. What they wanted to do is... Okay, you have to remember, this is the 90s. A lot of things were changing in television in the 90s.
I gotta say,
and they wanted to make it more science fiction.
Yeah, well, you know what it looked like? It looked like the startup button thing on my car.
Yeah.
You put your startup key... I mean, I know there's like usually for that kind of thing, but you'd think somebody could just put a piece of clay in there and turn it and wait for it to harden.
Yeah.
And it would open the door, but... I don't know. Does he ever move it around? Is it instead of above the P, does he move it someplace else? Because you got to think, how many times does the Doctor get locked out? He's supposedly be able to snap his fingers and get in.
Well, that's not Tell Matt Smith.
Well,
they even say that in the
does
TV
he learn
show.
this after he throws away the instruction manual in what was it, the 9th or which when did he throw away the instruction manual?
Like the very first one.
Yeah, so if he didn't know it after he threw that, how the heck did he figure out he could actually...
Because River Song told him.
Really?
Yeah. Do we have to go rewatch that episode?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you starting to remember?
Yeah, but then again, River Song was born in the TARDIS, so she knows everything about it because there's a psychic link to it.
Yeah. So, anywho... so after that, he... I love this part because he just walks out of the TARDIS like, you know... Those gunshots clearly hit the TARDIS. He didn't check the monitor, which, you know, he does do sometimes. And sometimes he does walk out of the TARDIS and doesn't bother to check anything. So he walks into like, derp, 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 I'm just gonna go get hit by the bullets now, and falls over, and then starts to regenerate. It's like, what?
He probably checked whether what he checks usually is what kind of atmosphere, what location is, whether the location is dangerous.
But even though, like, we've seen that there are cameras, or something that allows him to look outside.
But you got to think the time frames it takes him to get from his podium, the old self, and waddle himself out the door.
Even so, he could tell that something was going on.
Well, he's in a back alley in a Chinese district. You know somebody's going to get shot every 10 minutes.
Wow.
I'm not being racist.
I apologize if anyone listening to this is Chinese.
No. I'm not saying it's anything against Chinese, but it looked like a shady back alley behind a Chinese restaurant, and that was in the movie. If you looked to the right, there was a Chinese restaurant, and I'm thinking, okay, you can tell this looks like a shady area. There's garbage dumpsters.
It's supposed to be San Francisco. I don't know. I guess
this is before the gay men started cleaning up the streets and making it one of the most wholesome places on earth. Against the Christians. The Christians hate San Francisco.
Right.
At least the gay ones.
So he gets rushed into surgery. I love the regeneration scene because they kind of like flash back and forth between him regenerating and the 1932 Frankenstein movie. So I thought that was kind of neat.
I was wondering whether he was going to call friend type thing when he gets up, or fish and chips type thing.
Yeah, well, like, a lot of the stuff in this was not needed. And I even remember when the TV Guide... Do you remember when TV Guide used to be a thing?
Yeah, they still have them.
We're not old kids.
Here's the thing I want to know. Did they have the autopsy? Did they remove the bullets from him? Or did the regeneration just pop them out?
They did remove the bullets.
Right. Now, I'm sure the cold must have actually slowed down the regeneration rate.
No, actually, it was the anesthetics. At least that's what they said.
Yeah, the anesthetics and the cold. I mean, he's in a freezer, for God's sakes. You got to think it's going to be hard for the body to warm up.
And, like, in TV Guide, it said, from the credits for it, you know, I think if you saw the TV show when it was on, and you were a fan of it, you're really going to like this. But I never saw the TV show, and I was completely lost. So unless you've seen it, I wouldn't suggest watching it.
I thought you said you watched some VHS episodes with your uncle.
No, this is what it said in TV Guide.
Oh, okay.
And that was my papa.
Right. Now, what I've got to say, one thing is, for me, the current regenerations are basically him standing, and you have a large blast coming from his arms and head.
Yeah.
And the older regenerations were basically just little flickering, and then no real big light or anything. Just quick image change, and he turns into another doctor with a little bit of blur.
Yeah.
The new ones look like he's basically going Kamehameha, basically going Super Saiyan and transforming. And not only does he transform, but the TARDIS. They did it with the old series where the TARDIS would change, but no offense, when they went from the 10th to the 11th, it was a complete wreck. I mean, he looked like he'd gone through the ringer in that transformation.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what was going on through that, but it looked pretty bad.
Well, there was... Okay, at the time, when this movie came out, a lot of fandom really hated this movie. Because it changed a lot of things, and everyone was just like, oh my god, the doctor kissed a woman, and it's like, yes guys, the doctor kissed a woman.
Yes,
Let's calm
younger
the fuck
now.
down.
He's younger now. He's not an old man stuck on his wife and his granddaughter. He's actually thinking, oh, okay, I'm a reborn person. He's got different neural pathways, and he's probably thinking, wow, she's cute. Let's kiss her.
Because the first kiss fandom let go. Because they're like, oh, he's happy, so that's why he kissed her.
A new body, it's young, and hello, I've got an erection. I haven't had one of these in 700 years.
Yeah, so there's that. There was also the half-human thing. Like, between the half-human thing and the kissing, like, the internet just broke. Like, fandom broke in half.
At least he had two hearts. At least they kept that.
Yeah. They actually do go in some of the comic books and say, oh, well, you know, the only reason why he thought that I was half-human was because he was looking into Grace's eyes, and what the Master saw was her eyes reflecting in his.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, I can kind of buy that as an excuse. The movie...
I gotta say one thing. Later in the episode, when the Master starts draining of his lives, it looks like he had 1,000 lives pulled out of him, and they're supposed to only have 12. How does that work?
The 12 lives thing is not genetic. What it is it's a limit put on by the Time Lords.
Yeah, and you gotta think now that the Time Lords and the new currencies are in a time lock because of the Dalek War. You gotta think that
the Doctor can regenerate as many times as he wants.
Now this was actually talked to about on the internet and on the blogs. Would there be a possible chance in the 12th Doctor that he regenerates into the opposite sex?
There was a Big Finish audio where they had David Tennant come in. Mm. This has so far been the only one he's done. Oh, I'm forgetting the name of the series. Crap, what was it? It was,
Crap, what was it? Is that the series?
No. Universe Unbound, I think.
Parallel
It's on the Big Finish website, and they had Tennant regenerate, except they did an alternate universe thing where he regenerates and he becomes a female Doctor.
Now, I would wonder what the Doctor's reaction of having a couple pair of, you know...
Yeah. So, like, I've heard the clip from, at least I think it's from this one, where, like, he regenerates and he's just like, oh, what? Wait, what? What's going on? Oh, I'm a woman now. Oh. And then, like, I don't know, I guess, like, he's supposed to, like, go down and be like, these are an improvement, as he, like, grabs
I've gained more here, but I've lost a lot down there. Oh, my God, I've lost it! But here's what I gotta think about. He was always about peace and love and thinking straight. Is there a menstrual cycle for the actual Doctor Who or Time Lord series? I know they're, like, kind of humanoids, but you gotta think, women, I'm not saying this about all women, but if there's a certain time of month they get angry, I mean, if the Daleks piss them off at a certain time, you're just gonna go and obliterate all Daleks. I could see a female Doctor going on a rampage.
And every woman who has heard that part is raging right now. So, now, this is what I have to ask you. Before we end our conversation about the Doctor Who, Big Finish, and the movie and everything else, after listening to Blood of the Daleks, Part 1 and 2, would those two make you want to go and possibly buy some of the other Big Finish audios that they have on their website?
You know what? If I had the bucks right now, I'd probably buy the CD versions, because I like to have a physical copy. Yeah. There's a lot of people who like to have the digital copy, so they go straight for the digital download. But I like to have the physical copy, because no offense, you can digitize a CD as many times as you want, but and share it with friends, of course, but usually digital versions, if you're downloaded to your iTunes account or whatnot, those usually can only be done once or twice, depending on whether your iTunes account or whether it's done something else. So I'd say yes, if you had the money, go and buy it, because no offense, if you're a Doctor Who fan, which most people are if you're a diehard, it's still a good listen, it's still got a decent timeline, and anything that has the Doctor and Daleks in it, you're going to want to watch anyways, because those are always the arch enemies, and usually have the most. And always hearing, destroy, exterminate type things, and to actually hear the Daleks say, I want to be your friends, and see these nice things, it's saying, okay, this seems so wrong. I mean, the Daleks are wrong before, but this just seems creepy, like Hannibal Lecter creepy.
It's more wrong than when they made the Daleks interplanetary police in the movie.
No, I think the worst one, you know, how do I put this? When the Daleks basically started converting in New York, the people into the Dalek hybrid human, where it had the tentacles on the face. Yeah. I mean, that thing looked, no offense, could have been a better species for the Daleks, but no offense, what kind of girl's going to want to kiss a guy whose tentacles are on the face wrapped around the other girl, and it looks like a suction cup from some Japanese horror flick? All right, I think we should just end it here, because we've already gone to 57 minutes, and anything like maybe we can do Red Hood next week, or if, like I said, I'd love to do the Young Justice series with you.
No, we're doing Red Hood and the Outlaws right now.
We've already hit 57 minutes, and I really don't think
there are ones that are, like, way over.
I know, but we're just starting, so let's just stay Doctor Who General this episode. Just humor me, because it just usually works better this way.
No, we're doing Red Hood
I'd like
and the
to
Outlaws.
read that first, if you want me to comment on it, no offense.
Well, I'm just giving this as a suggestion for people to pick up.
All right,
So, anyways, me and Cody talked about this. I know we didn't get to, but
that's the reason I wanted to skip it.
Well, we're not.
Yeah, it's your show. I'm not complaining.
We thought of doing a comic book review. So today I have with me Red Hood and the Outlaws, Volume 1 or Issue 1. This is part of the new DC Comics, New 52. This is kind of to reboot a lot of the old characters. In this we see Roy Harper, who was the Red Arrow, the Green Arrow sidekick. We meet Starfire, and of course we meet one of my most favorite DC characters, Jason Todd, who is of course the Red Hood. We see Roy Harper. You
just like the snazzy leather jacket, don't you, and the smart aleck attitude?
I just like the helmet. The helmet looks awesome. I don't like the new 52 helmet, but the original helmet they had for him. That was nice. So anyways, we see that Roy Harper's in what I'm guessing is some Afghanistan prison, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Jason Todd breaks in, and he's just like, I'm gonna bust you out, and has like these arrows with him and a bow, and tosses them to him. After that, they escape, and they're driving a stolen Jeep, and then they get to some tropical island here. I'm gonna find you this page, because you're really going to like this. Oh, and they meet up with Starfire. And look at how much Starfire has changed.
Let's just see.
Since the 70s.
Well, in Teen Titans, she was young, she had her powers, but she didn't have much in the chutzpah up top, and let's just say she can really rock a bikini and thong in this comic, so... And there's even a kid taking a couple shots in the corner with a digital
I think
camera.
that's supposed to be an iPod.
Well, he's taking a video of Starfire basically doing the whole wet scene with her hair flowing back in the water.
Just to let you guys know, this is rated T for teen.
So, yeah, there's no nudity, but it does have a very
There's
good
lots of
theme.
fan service.
Yeah.
So anyways, and I love how Roy's just like, so, you two seeing each other? And Jason's just like, no, I just have sex with her sometimes.
Okay, so, from the innocent Starfire from Teen Titans who was with Dick Grayson to this bad mamacita that's now with, just Tim Blake? God, I can't remember the name for the life of me. Jason Todd.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, stupid brain that cannot work when you don't have less sleep.
We also meet this other girl whose name I can't be bothered to remember.
Raven?
No, it's not Raven. I can tell you that right now.
Well, she's got a white look, so it's a little different than Raven, but it's pretty dark white.
Yeah. This comic, basically what happens in it is we see what will be the entire gang of this comic getting round up, meeting each other, and then near the end of the comic, they all go on this mission. I will admit, this issue is fairly slow starting off.
I have to admit, for comic series standpoints, the older 50s comics and 20s and 30s, the comics put in every comic issue had a lot of storyline compared to it. Comics these days have about 10 pages less, or maybe 20, and they basically half of them are filler with ads. So you get very little storyline, and that's how they market more comics. Bring back the old comics. I mean, the only time you get a really good comic is when you buy the hardcover version or the paperback version of the collection. That's when you get a real good. And that's usually volume of the paperbacks, or volume 1 or volume 2.
Why do you think that DC's been releasing those lately?
Money.
Yeah,
money,
exactly.
money.
And to people who collect them, like myself, we love those ones because then we can go back and read these older issues without actually having to take the older issue out of the packaging and risk damaging it, because everyone has oils in their hands, which,
like, for me,
comic books nowadays are made a hell of a lot better than they were back in the 50s.
The paper's better, they're going to last longer, and most people take them in plastics these days.
They do still, like, the oils in your skin can still corrode them.
That's why my main comic book series I collect is the Halo series by Marvel. Now I've collected currently up to the Covenant Invasion, the Fall of Reach, Bloodline, a bunch of different ones I've actually done. And, I always buy the hardcover when I have a chance, or a paperback depending on what's in stock.
Yeah.
But, it's nice to have them all in one little book, because you always have to take it out of the plastic, go into one. And there's less ads when you go in through the hardcovers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I don't bother with ads.
Yeah, I know. So, I think you're better off, in my opinion. If you want to be first to know about everything, you buy the comics. If you want to save money and in the end and have something just to read and not worry about the damaging of the issue, or if you're not a collector, I'd say just buy the hardcovers when they come out.
Yeah.
But if you're a diehard, get the comics and get both.
Yeah.
All right. I think this is where we should end it, because we're already at, what?
There is one quick note I want to mention.
Aye.
Volume 12, I believe, is supposed to be coming out sometime this week for Red Hood and the Outlaws. So if you are still following the series, or if you want to pick this series up, the newest issue will be coming out this week. So you can go pick that up if you decide to go pick up the rest of them.
All right, guys. So I am Chuck.
And I am CJ.
And this is Nerd Culture Radio, Episode 1 Pilot. And we will also be posting this later on YouTube with basically a straight image, and just put it up there so you can watch it off YouTube. And we'll start our podcast as soon as we have a chance to get that system up and running.
And also check out our Facebook page at TV Pop Culture.
And like and subscribe any of our past or current videos that we're putting up. And Episode 44 should be up pretty soon as well. We had a little bit of a delay with that with some technical issues, as well as we were both kind kind of sick a little bit. More or less me, I was sick, but CJ had a little bit of a cold, it seems.
Mine's just allergies. Also, if you have any ideas for stuff for us to review, please send me a email at mctavish.tvpopculture@gmail.com. Please put in the subject title for the review show or Nerd Culture Radio so that we know which program this is issued for.
And if you'd really like your actual comments or your suggestions to be taken in a very sincere comment, or just basically make sure that it is basically what we review, send a dirtily clad picture with it as well in the email.
Please do not do that if you are not of legal age.
Yes,
we don't want getting in trouble.
Yes, no underage, just older and female. we're heterosexuals here.
Until next time, this is Nerd Culture Radio, signing off.